what NSU can look like. I had the opportunity to meet with student leaders this morning and hear that here at NSU, you are on the cusp of something very exciting, that as soon as April 1st, there may be a recycling program on campus, and that students had played a big role in helping to make that happen. That is very exciting, and that is one important step in the right direction. But I have to say, if we're using words like the biggest, most defining challenge of our time right now, when we factor in the economic implications of our energy challenges and the environmental implications, the recycling program can only be step one. We need to think so big because the sky is the limit. If young people can go to Washington, D.C., and convince people like Barack Obama and Senator Boxer in the United States Senate and Congressman Henry Waxman in the United States House of Representatives that it is possible for them to pass federal legislation, if young people can make that happen, then young people on this campus can certainly transform not only what the physical campus looks like, but how it runs and how it gets its energy. And it doesn't need to stop on the perimeter of this campus. It can extend to Tahlequah. It can extend to your state capital. It can extend to the borders of Oklahoma. One of the things that I have been most inspired by as I've traveled around this country is how much I don't know. I know that's a weird thing to be inspired by, right? It's how much I don't know. It's how much I've already learned this morning from young people on this campus about what happens at NSU, about what the state of Oklahoma is like. What I have learned is that my ideas of what I think are big aren't even anywhere near big enough, because I learned from students and young people every new place I go that they have a bigger, more amazing idea, and my response is, yes, let's get to work. How can I help you? How can I help you? How can a community of young people committed to making positive change all across this country help you? What we've seen starting to emerge all across the country is young people getting really savvy, saying, you know what? We're going to talk to one another because we're powerful when we talk to one another. And so in Michigan, they went from just having one small group of students at the University of Michigan thinking about issues of sustainability and how could we, get energy from wind power and solar power? How could we power our campus transportation on waste vegetable oil instead of gasoline? We went from that to students on 17 different campuses in Michigan, all taking efforts on their own campus and all working with one another as a state network called the Michigan Student Sustainability Coalition. They thought, you know what, we're more powerful when we all stand together. So when the governor of Michigan is thinking about how Michigan revitalizes its economy, do you know who the governor of Michigan is going to talk to? She's not just going to talk to big business. She's not just going to talk to her state legislature. She's going to talk to the Michigan Student Sustainability Coalition, because those young people, those leaders, literally represent hundreds of thousands of young people across Michigan. Well, folks in Michigan have been so successful in their efforts that students in Maryland, in California, in South Carolina, in North Carolina, in Texas, they've all decided to do the same. They said, we are going to be a powerhouse. And I think it's time for students here at NSU to stand up, to make really cool things happen right here on campus, and to talk to your friends that go to institutions across the state, and to form a statewide network for Oklahoma to be a powerhouse, for the state legislature to hear from its state's youth, from the future of this state and this country, and their ideas for the future. We are only just beginning, and what is incredibly compelling and exciting for me as a young person who has the opportunity to work and support efforts of people like you all across this country is that I know the future leadership and innovation and passion we need to repower this entire country. Part of that is in this room today. It's in this room today. You can walk out of this room today and you have at your disposal the resources to make revolutionary change. Did you all think that when you walked in this morning? You now all have that responsibility. I am asking all of you to do one thing. I'm asking you to make a personal change in your life with regard to sustainability. one personal thing. Walk instead of drive. Change a light bulb. But you know what? If you stop with that personal change in your life, if you go from one regular light bulb to a compact fluorescent, you drink out of a recycled cup, you have a water bottle, I mean, I'm going to say that's great, except I'm going to say that's not going to help us fight the defining challenge of our time. So I'm going to say that's a great first step. I need you to take that first step, and I need you to find 50 people in your life, at your church, at your school, at your job, to make that change with you. So I'm asking you to make one personal change in your life that helps this planet be greener. Then I'm going to ask you to make one political change, okay? I've talked a lot about politics today, and political change is a critical part of this. We need city councils and state governments and federal governments to wake up and take some real action. So I'm asking you to call your member of the city council, to call your state representative, to call, and I have to point out that you all still have a United States senator that denies that global warming and climate change are happening. So I ask you to call him as well and make it very clear that you know this is a problem, that you're not going to wait for him to acknowledge it's a problem. You're actually going to go out there and start working on solutions. So I'm asking you to make one personal change in your life, a political change, a political action, and then you need to change something in the institutions you're a part of. And I don't think I'm asking you too much, because I think if we're talking about the defining challenges of our time, this is worth asking. It means you need to be involved in something to change what's happening here at NSU. That's one institution you can be involved in. It means that when you go to church next Sunday, you bring up the idea at your church of what your church can do to be a model and beacon of sustainability. It means that at your place of employment, you talk about one change you can make. Think about what would happen if everyone in this room just did those three things. They made a personal change, and they asked their friends and family to do the same. They got involved here at NSU. They showed up at a student government meeting. They called up their brand new, incredible president and asked him to make changes. They came up with a campaign to transform NSU to be the most sustainable institution in this state. Think about what would happen. And think about if we all called our elected officials. We are only on the beginning of transformative change. I am so appreciative of the opportunity of being able to have come here today. And I hope that we'll have the opportunity to open it up and have some questions and dialogue. Thank you very much.